Hello, welcome back to this YouTube channel. My name is JC. Today we're going to have another installment of the Rockefeller success stories. It's part 6, so let's get started. Pay attention to the details. Chernow writes that Rockefeller seemed destined to succeed as much from his fastidious work habits as from innate intelligence. And the man himself admitted to having a passion for detail. If anything, this was an understatement. In his personal appearance, Rockefeller always presented himself well-groomed and neatly dressed. His face was always shaved, and his shoes were perennially shined. When it came to appointments, he was religiously punctual, believing that a man has no right to occupy another man's time unnecessarily. He kept his own personal routine to a T, allotting a certain time for business, family, faith, and hobbies, and sticking to that planned schedule down to the second. In business deals, he always paid his debts and fulfilled his contracts on time. In dictating letters to his secretaries, he would work his way through 5 to 6 drafts, refining the wording in each round until he felt it was just right and best conveyed his intent. Signing these letters was a precise process in and of itself. As an aide remembered, I have seen him sign his name to hundreds of papers at a sitting. He did each signature carefully, as if this particular one was to be the only one by which he was to be remembered for all time. Each signature became, in his mind, a work of art. And of course, when it came to bookkeeping, Rockefeller's zeal knew no bounds. Early in his career, he learned to have great respect for figures and facts, no matter how small they were. If there was a tiny error on an invoice, Rockefeller noticed it. If he was due a few cents more than he was paid, he requested the oversight remedied. As the chairman of Standard Oil, he was consistently on top of all the numbers being generated by his sprawling empire, as they allowed him to objectively track the health of its various sectors, and to know when the data didn't match what he was hearing from his subordinates. As Chernow writes, it was the way that he extended rationality from the top of his organization down to the lowest rung. Every cost in the Standard Oil universe was computed to several decimal places. Or in other words, Rockefeller was a big believer in the maxim, what gets measured gets managed. His left hand always knew what his right hand was doing, and he scoffed at rivals who lacked such knowledge. Many of the brightest kept their books in such a way that they did not actually know what they were making, when they were making money on a certain operation, and when they were losing. Some found this obsession with the details overly methodical and exacting, but Rockefeller knew that tiny corrections could end up making a large, lasting impact. For example, while touring a plant, he saw that 40 drops of solder were being used to seal kerosene cans destined for export. He asked the foreman to try sealing them with 38 drops. Some leaked with 38, but none with 39, and so the switch was made. Rockefeller recalled, that one drop of solder saved $2,500 the first year, but the export business kept on increasing after that and doubled, quadrupled, became immensely greater than it was then, and the saving has gone steadily along. One drop on each can, and has amounted since to many hundreds of thousands of dollars. Wow, this is very impressive. So I think his attention to detail just tells that the attitude, how important the attitude is to work. So and I think personally I'm in line with Rockefeller's this habit. I also have a very extreme kind of attention to detail, and I like to get things done perfectly. But on the other hand, perfection is is kind of the killer for progress. So I also have to be always I always have to remind myself that I don't need to make things 100% perfect before I get it released. But anyhow, I think pay attention to details is one of the things that would distinguish you from the competition. And also, especially this paragraph, it mentioned that the attention to the detail about money and the profit versus the loss, that's super important for business. If you don't know your number, you're just shooting in the air, and you have no you have no way to know whether your business succeed or fail. So know your numbers and be very honest with yourself. That way you can succeed in the long term. So I think that's all for today. I've learned a lot, and certainly I hope you could learn a lot too. And I think tomorrow is the last installment of the Rockefeller habits. So we'll study the last Rockefeller habits together tomorrow, living frugally. That's the last lesson. And I'll see you tomorrow.